Point at an object in front of you. The reason for pointing is to direct your attention at a specific object. Please actually point with your finger rather than just imagine doing it. Look along your finger and observe what you're pointing at. Notice its shape. Notice its size and its colour. If you don't know the exact names of the colours you can see there, it doesn't matter. You can still see them. You don't need words. Notice that what you're looking at is a thing that's surrounded by other things. Now point at your foot and notice its size and colour. Observe that it too is a thing, surrounded by other things. Now point at your knee. Notice its colour and shape. It's also a thing, an object with a boundary. Point further up your body to your chest and notice what you see there, the colours, the shapes. You can probably see the movement of your breathing. Again, you're pointing at something. Finally, point at the place where others see your face, at the place you're looking out of. What do you see there? Do you see your face? Do you see any colours or shapes there? Do you see anything there at all? I'll describe what I find. As I do so, keep pointing back at yourself and see if you find the same. I don't see my face here. I don't see anything here. No colours, no shapes, no movement, nothing at all. Here I see empty space. At the same time, I see that this empty space is also full. It's full now with my finger and with the rest of the world. I'm now seeing that I'm not what I look like. I'm aware that others see my face here. I know that for them, from several feet away, I'm a person with a head on my shoulders. I'm Richard, English, in my 50s, and so on. However, from my point of view, at zero distance, I'm not like that at all. At centre, I'm nothing and no one. And yet, I'm aware. I'm aware of being nothing, and aware that this nothingness is full of everything I can see, hear, feel, and so on. Be aware of how others identify you. For them you have a face, an age, a nationality, and so on. But what are you from your point of view, at zero distance? Do you see your face there, or do you see clear, boundless space? Are you a person, or an emptiness that's filled with the world? Don't guess or imagine, simply look. You can stop pointing at your no-face, your true self, whenever you like. I cannot prove that either you or I are empty at centre, empty for the world. From the outside we both have heads. Seeing that you don't have a head is a private thing, an inner secret. Only you can see the spacious reality at the heart of yourself. Only I can see it at the heart of myself. All I can do here is describe my experience and ask you to see if you're the same. If you find that you too are empty for the world, then we're now sharing a wonderful secret. We're aware of this indivisible, clear consciousness in which everything is happening. This is who we really are, our true self. But I can see my nose, you might say, and noses are attached to faces. Is your nose attached to your face? Mine isn't. Looking towards my left, I see a blurry shape stretching from the ceiling to the floor. Looking towards my right, I see another one. I can make them solid or transparent as I choose. I call them my nose, but they aren't attached to a face here. They stick out of my central emptiness. Are you the same? Of course, I know that from a distance others see my nose on my face. What I'm doing, however, is taking seriously the difference between what others see from over there and what I see from here. And the difference is total. I'm not anything like how others see me. Sometimes people are reluctant to do these experiments. Perhaps they're afraid they'll look silly, or that they'll be conned into believing something that isn't true. If you feel like this, I want to assure you this is a serious inquiry, and you're not being asked to take on board anything you cannot verify. The point is to look at the centre of your being in a scientific manner. Look for yourself at what you are, rather than believe what other people tell you. And how important this inquiry is. If you're wrong about your identity at centre, it's likely your mistake will ripple out into every area of your life. Now you may say that you can see your no-face, but it doesn't make you feel better, so it can't be the real thing, or the real no-thing in fact. It can't be the awakening and liberation that you've read about in this or that scripture. First of all, you have to give it a chance. One glimpse of your true nature won't make much difference. You have to go on seeing you are empty for the world if you want it to affect your life. Get into the habit of noticing that you're headless, that your capacity for others, that your life flows from this clear, boundless source, and I'm sure you'll find many good things come your way. This is something you can test in the weeks and months and years ahead. Build the seeing into the heart of your life, and you'll be blessed. There will be times, however, when this in-seeing isn't accompanied by positive feelings. When this happens, you may be tempted to think you can't be seeing who you really are. But your true self is available whatever you're feeling. Seeing your true self isn't the same as psyching yourself up into a special state of mind. It's the discovery of the no-mind, in which all states of mind come and go. It's the plain truth that sets you free, not special feelings. Special feelings will of course come to you, but if you make them your goal, you're in danger of being disappointed. Even if you do attain a wonderful state of mind, it won't last. What comes goes. But what does not come or go is this emptiness. This emptiness which, however, is always full of something, including feelings. If you attend to this filled emptiness, then I think you'll find that it comes to have a special value of its own. It's reliable. The ground of being is always present. Whatever you're feeling, whatever's going on in your life, it's there. Or rather, it's here, and it's endlessly fertile and wise. From this bare, unchanging, ever-present ground comes exactly what you need, moment by moment. This is, of course, for testing. Naturally, different people react differently to the pointing experiment. I have lots of experience sharing the Headless Way, but I've given up trying to guess who will find it of value and who won't. No one can see their own face, but whether or not this will be meaningful to someone is unpredictable. If it does mean something to you, then follow it up. Keep coming back to your central emptiness and discover the many benefits that flow from awareness of who you really are. Point with one hand at something in front of you. At the same time, point with your other hand back at your no-face. One finger is pointing out at something, the other is pointing in at nothing. Two-way pointing. This gesture indicates the two sides of your true self, the emptiness and what's in the emptiness. You can see colours there, given in the colourless space here. You can see shapes there, given in the shapeless space here. If you move a finger, you can see movement there, given in stillness here. Looking out, you see many things there, all given in one no-thing here. Although you can distinguish between the emptiness and what's filling it, can you separate these two sides of yourself? I can't. I find no dividing line between the space here and what it contains there. This clear awareness merges with and becomes the world. You are also capacitive for sounds, sensations, thoughts, feelings, and so on. We're attending to vision at the moment, but we'll be exploring the other senses later on. You can put your hands down now. However, see if you can remain aware of your no-face. If you find that awareness of your no-face comes and goes, don't worry, that's normal. Whenever you remember, just bring your attention back to it. In this way you'll develop the habit of being awake to your true self. Looking back and seeing your no-face is only one side of the story. There's not a lot to say about being empty, about being nothing. Here you find pure being, pure consciousness. Here your true self abides without any characteristics whatsoever. You simply are. However, the other side of the story is that this emptiness always has something in it. You're not just empty, you're empty for filling. How richly filled you are. Everything is within you. I find it amazing that this emptiness has things in it. I look out of this clear, edgeless window, out of pure being, and surprise, surprise, I find the world. Normally we assume the world has to be there, but there could have been absolutely nothing at all. No world and no consciousness. Instead, here is this wonderful miracle, a miracle in full working order, happening right where you are. How many eyes are you looking out of? Obviously for others you have 2 eyes, 2 human eyes. But how many do you have from your own point of view? I have only one, and it's not a human eye, it's a divine eye. I believe that you too are looking out of a single divine eye. Of course, only I can see my single eye, only you can see yours. But once you see your single eye, it's the most obvious thing in the world. This experiment guides your attention to your divine single eye. Here's what you do. If you wear glasses, take them off and hold them out in front of you. If not, make a pretend pair with your hands. Make a round hole with your left hand by touching your thumb and first finger together to form a circle. Do the same with your right hand. Then bring the 2 circles together so they look like glasses. You can see 2 holes, or 2 lenses if you're holding glasses, with a dividing line between them. There's a different view in each hole or lens. Slowly put on your glasses, real or pretend, and notice what happens to the central dividing line. I find it disappears. The 2 become one. I'm not looking out of a pair of human eyes, but out of a single divine eye. Are you the same? Bring your hands back out in front of you and hold them apart, with open palms. Now bring them towards and then past your head, one on either side. My hands don't go past my head, but disappear into emptiness where I am. What do you find? Bring your hands out of the emptiness and hold them in front of you again. Now move them back towards the emptiness, but stop just as your fingers begin to vanish. Explore that edge where your hands disappear all the way round. At the top, down the sides, along the bottom. My hands go round in a circle. I see nothing beyond that edge, nothing outside that circle. Everything is within my single eye. What do you find? When you've finished exploring, you can put your hands down. Remain aware of the edge of your single eye. The edge where the world fades out is a strange and fascinating place. Look at any individual thing in front of you and you'll see it's surrounded by other things. It has a boundary all the way round it, a line where it stops and the rest of the world begins. Your single eye is different. There isn't a boundary around it, and there's nothing beyond it. In every direction the world merges into emptiness. It floats in consciousness. I find no other consciousness than this consciousness. I don't see other single eyes next to mine. The world exists within this one eye, within this one consciousness. My true self is alone. Do you find this too? One benefit of seeing there's only one consciousness is that fear of others is undermined. This clear consciousness surrounds and becomes everyone and everything. All are within you, all are yourself. In reality, there are no strangers. Awareness of this is a deep kind of love. Close your eyes for a moment. The colours and forms of the world disappear. Do you disappear? Of course not. Now open your eyes. What changes? The view out changes, you see the world again, but the view in remains the same, always clear and empty. In fact, I don't close and open 2 eyes. The world fades out and then reappears. From my point of view, I destroy and create things. Investigate this for yourself. It turns out that your true self has amazing powers. You can't demonstrate these powers outwardly. Others see you just closing and opening your eyes. In this sense, your powers have no practical effect in the world. However, your hidden powers confirm to yourself how special and unique you are. You are the Headless One, who alone can make things appear and disappear. From you the world arises, into you the world dissolves. Your true self is powerful and glorious beyond your wildest dreams. A friend of mine tells me that seeing her single eye helps her relax. Sometimes she feels tense around her eyes, but when she sees she is eyeless, often the tension melts away. I find that when I'm aware of my single eye, I see more. Normally I have tunnel vision. I focus on one object and overlook the rest of the scene. But when I'm conscious of my single eye, I'm wide-eyed, as wide as the world, and much more aware of the whole field of view, including things on the periphery. As Emerson wrote, "I am nothing, I see all." One of the things I see when I'm aware of my single eye and I'm indoors is that I'm not indoors. Right now I'm not inside this room. This room is in me. If you're indoors, see if you can see what I'm talking about. Looking ahead, I see the far wall of this room. I can also see the wall on my left, up to where it disappears into my single eye here. The wall on my right also disappears into my single eye, as do the ceiling, the floor, and what I can see of my body. From my point of view, this room has only 3 walls. The 4th wall is missing. Instead of a 4th wall, I see space. I'm not surrounded by 4 walls, not imprisoned, so to speak, within this room. This room is in me. Never in my whole life have I actually been inside a room, or inside any enclosed space. I'm not in this world is in me. This is true for us all. Our true self is free. Of course, someone looking at me would see the wall behind me, would see that I am in the room, that I am in the world, that I am not free. But they wouldn't see the wall behind themselves. For them, the freedom I'm talking about is where they are. This awareness can be helpful if ever you feel claustrophobic. Perhaps you don't like crowded spaces, or being on a plane or in the underground. You feel trapped. When you find yourself in such a situation, see that you're not in the situation is in you. There's infinite space where you are. You're free, and you're safe. Seeing who you really are is something you can't do wrong. Can you see only a part of your no-face, a fragment of your single eye? I can't. It's indivisible. I see all of it now. Looking at something in front of you, part of that thing is hidden. You can see the front of your hand, for example, but not the back at the same time. But is any of the space that contains your hand hidden? Isn't all of it on show, through and through, now and forever? Not only do you see all of your no-face now, you cannot see it more clearly in one moment than in another. How could this perfect clarity become clearer? Even if you overlook it, it doesn't deteriorate. When you look again, it's still perfectly clear. You don't have to somehow bring it back up to speed. Nor can anyone else see the emptiness more clearly or less clearly than you see it. How could this pure nothingness be different for any of its observers, whoever or wherever they are? It's the same in us all. There's no hierarchy of seers. Here we are one and the same forever. Awareness of this generates respect, both for oneself and for others. Awareness of your true self can help you make decisions. Let's say you're facing a problem and you've tried all the options you can think of, but you've now run out of ideas. You don't know what to do. Well, try this. Continue being aware of the situation, but at the same time be aware of the space where you are. See, you're not facing the situation, not confronting it, you're empty for it. This includes being empty for your feelings, for your reaction to the situation. Experiment with trusting that the source will guide you, that it will come up with what you need. It created the problem in the first place. Now give it a chance to provide the solution. As you wait, see how in each moment something new emerges into consciousness. the situation is developing all the time. If no clear guidance comes, then continue waiting until it does come. Give attention to other demands and situations as they present themselves. You don't have to be always thinking of the problem. In the periods when you're not consciously attending to the problem, things continue to develop. Be patient. Remain open to the source and to what it gives you moment by moment. Your true self will present a way forward, will provide a solution. It may not, however, be what you expect or hope for. The source is wise, but we don't always like what it gives us, and we may not be able to see the good in it straight away. If this is so, then continue being empty for what happens, including your own reactions. This advice is not for accepting uncritically. Test the wisdom of your true identity yourself by handing over and surrendering to it, by giving it a chance to show you what it can do. If you don't give the source the opportunity to help you, how will you ever find out how wise and loving and powerful it is? The wisdom of surrendering to what the source gives you, moment by moment, lies at the heart of all the great spiritual traditions. People use different terms, but it comes down to the same thing. Be empty. Say yes to the present moment. Get out of the way and let the Spirit act through you. Surrender your personal will to the will of your true self. Let go and let God. And, of course, as the saying goes, as well as trusting God, don't forget to tie up your camel. In other words, trusting God doesn't mean that you just sit back and do nothing. There's a time to wait and a time to act, a time to be still and a time to move, a time to be silent and a time to speak. Be empty, and you will know what is called for. This is the end of the single eye experiment. If you are with others, take time to share your experience. Perhaps one of you could lead the others through the experiment one more time. Whether you're on your own or with others, why not finish by spending a few moments silently being aware of your single eye? You don't have to think or feel anything in particular. Relax and see what presents itself in the emptiness. Then, in your daily life, notice your single eye whenever you remember. This is an ongoing meditation for each moment. See that all things are happening within this boundless consciousness. I can't see my head, you might say, but I can touch it. Can you? I can't touch mine. Let's investigate this. Touch your head. Going by present evidence, what are you touching? You can feel sensations, but do they add up to a head? Or are all those sensations happening in boundless emptiness? I don't touch my head. My fingertips disappear into my central emptiness, and I feel sensations, here in this emptiness, not in my head. Of course, I know that others see me touching my head, and I can conjure up a mental image of what they see, a solid three-dimensional thing. But I don't find anything like that here. I'm not contained inside a small, hard, closed thing. I'm at large, transparent, open. And in this aware openness, not only do I find sensations, but everything else that's going on as well. My headless body, the scent of flowers on the table, the voices of children in a nearby garden. Everything is here within me. Losing my head, I become the world. Are you the same? Are you small at center or big? Do you contain only what's within your skull, or do you contain the world? Look at your hand. Are you in your hand, or is your hand in you? My hand is in me, in this emptiness that I am. I'm looking at its form and colour, its solidity from this colourless, shapeless transparency here. Without any effort, this emptiness merges with and becomes my hand. I am my hand because I am empty for my hand. Be aware of the sensation of your hand. Wiggle your fingers. Just as the colours are in the absence of colour where you are, isn't the sensation in the absence of sensation where you are? Are you in that sensation, or is it in you? I find it's all going on in me, in consciousness. Be aware of your whole body. Are you in your body, or is your body in you? My body is in me. Looking in, I'm bodiless, but looking out, I am capacity for this body of mine and all its sensations. Does awareness that you're not in your body, that you're empty for it, make you less aware of it? Not in my experience. When I'm aware of this awake space here in which my body is happening, I'm more physically aware. I'm also more likely to feel relaxed. Things get stressed, but space doesn't. Even when you experience a tense situation, your true self remains free of that tension. Touch a nearby object. Do you feel your fingertips, or do you feel that object? I'm touching a table. I can feel the grain of the wood, not my fingers. I'm empty both for what I can see, my fingers touching the table, and for what I can feel, the texture of the table. When you shake hands with someone, do you feel your hand or theirs? Where is the dividing line between yourself and another? Doesn't your emptiness include both yourself and others? As a baby, you didn't yet know where you ended and where the world began. Growing up, you learned that you stopped at the boundary of your skin. As an adult, you accept this. But does your true self end there? When you look at your body and see you're empty for it, are you not also empty for the surrounding environment, for the rest of the scene? Are you not empty for the whole world? Isn't your real body the entire universe? It's all in you. Your human body is only a part of your greater body, without which you couldn't exist for a moment. Which layer of your worldwide body you take on depends on where and how far you look. Looking in, I have no body. At zero distance, I'm nothing and no one. Looking down, I become this headless body of mine. Looking out, I become other people, the rest of life and the planet. And looking up, I become all the stars in the sky. My body extends in layers, from my human arms all the way to my galactic arms. I'm not imprisoned inside one layer, in solitary confinement in a human body. Wide open and boundless, I am in everything, and everything is in me. Explore. Seeing that your body is in you, are you not more sensitive to it? Aware that other people are within you, don't you see them more clearly and feel for them more deeply? Conscious that your true self extends beyond your human body into the world around you, are you not more conscious of your environment? Aware that branches dancing in the wind are dancing in you, are you not more attuned to that dance, as if those branches are your own limbs, which indeed they are? In the bird you fly, in the river you flow, in the rain you fall, in the stars you shine. Seeing you are alive in every layer of your body, are you not more alive? As the poet Traherne said, you never enjoy the world aright till the sea itself floweth in your veins, till you are clothed with the heavens and crowned with the stars, and perceive yourself to be the sole heir of the whole world. Taking on different bodies is fun. I shared this two-way seeing with a friend over lunch. She exclaimed with amusement, "So when I look at the radish there, I become the radish." Yes, wherever you look, you are that, even when you're looking at a radish. Of course, when I turn into a radish, or a star, or whatever I choose, no one else sees my transformation. For others, I don't change at all. Though privately I perform miracles, becoming whatever is in my awareness, publicly I do nothing of the sort. And so I live a two-sided life, like a king in disguise. On the one hand, I accept the world's view of me, I'm just a person. On the other hand, I enjoy this wonderful secret, the secret of my true identity. You see my fingers touching my human head. I see them touching my divine no-head. Here, where you see Richard, I find the source and container of the world. Am I going to deny this most amazing fact about myself just because others cannot see it? I know I can never show you this divine identity of mine, never prove to you who I really am. You will always see my human disguise. But if you look where you are, you'll find you have a divine no-head too. Who are you really? Look for yourself. Discover how different you are from your appearance. See that you're not imprisoned inside a body. All bodies are within you. The whole world is within you. But I can see my face in the mirror, you might say. Doesn't the mirror prove I have a face? Doesn't it show me who I am? Let's look into this. Hold your mirror at arm's length and look in it. The mirror shows you what you look like. At this distance you see your face. Someone else looking at you from a few feet away would also see your face. Now bring your mirror halfway towards you. Notice how the mirror and your face get bigger. You can see more detail. This is what you look like at this range. Now bring your mirror as close as you can. You see a blur. You're very different at this distance from what you look like at arm's length. Now move your mirror back to arm's length. Your mirror reveals what you look like at different distances, but it can't show you what you are at center, at no distance, because you can't place it there. Nor can others say what you are at no distance, because they can't get there either. But you can see what you are at center, because you're there. I see my face there in the mirror, at the far end of my outstretched arm. What do I see at the near end of my arm? Nothing at all. My arm disappears into faceless emptiness. Here I am nothing, awake space. Looking out from this awake space, I see my face there. I am capacity for my appearance. Are you the same? You can see your face there in the mirror. Are you looking from a face on your side of the mirror, or from no face, from emptiness? Aren't you capacity for your appearance? Put your mirror down for a moment and consider the following. A mirror at arm's length reveals your human face. If you could look in more distant mirrors, you would see other appearances of yourself. A full-length mirror a few yards away would show your whole body. What would you see if you could hold a big mirror up in the sky at, say, 20,000 feet? I would see London, my urban face. And if you could place a mirror on the moon, you would see the Earth. At that distance you would see your planetary face, whilst at arm's length you see your human face. Look in the mirror again. Be aware of the sensation of your face. Does that sensation have colour and shape? Not in my experience. And where is that sensation? The sensation of my face isn't inside anything. Just as I'm capacity for my face there in the mirror, so I'm capacity for all this sensation. I feel it in boundless emptiness. I've learned to think of this sensation as having colour and form. I imagine it clothed with the image in the mirror. The invisible sensation of my forehead, for example, I link with the visible forehead in the mirror. It's vital to do this. You couldn't function in society if you didn't associate the feeling of your face, and indeed the feeling of your whole body, with an image. By doing so, you become aware of how others see you. But are you inside that image? I'm not. I'm the boundless consciousness in which that image and all these sensations are happening. Douglas Harding spoke about the 1 meter path that leads from your appearance there in the mirror back along your arm to this amazing reality at your center. It's an unusual way of putting it, yet it makes clear that the journey from your human face to your divine no face is a physical journey along a physical path. Whilst holding your mirror with one hand, touch your face in the mirror with your other hand. Then move your finger from the mirror back along your arm towards the place you're looking out of. Keep your attention on your finger as you do so, until your finger crosses over the threshold between the world and the origin of the world. You have just made an actual journey from there to here, from one of your appearances there to the source of all your appearances here. The source, though it isn't a thing, is just as physically locatable as your face there in the mirror. And so short is this path between the world and its origin that it takes practically no time at all to travel along it. It's a fast track to who you really are. You can put your mirror down now. Travelling this path is therapeutic. Seeing you are free of your appearance is freeing. A woman in a workshop spoke about disliking her appearance. For this reason she rarely looked in the mirror. During the workshop I asked everyone to look in their mirrors for several minutes, noticing they were capacity for their faces. Afterwards this woman said how healing this experience was. She could see that her face was there and not here, that she was free of it, that it was, as she said, everyone else's problem and not hers. What a relief! I remember Douglas Harding pointing to the mirror and saying with both humour and seriousness, "Thank God I'm not like that." And a man spoke of feeling deep compassion for himself after looking in the mirror for several minutes in a workshop. He was looking at his appearance from this unconditionally open, faceless consciousness. Her friend is being treated for cancer. She looks in the mirror and sees her appearance changing. Her hair is falling out. She says it's a blessing to see that she is empty for her appearance, that on this side of the mirror her true self is in perfect health. This brings us to the most wonderful discovery. Each time you look in the mirror, the person you see there is older. As the years go by, your face shows increasing signs of age. Wrinkles develop. You know that one day that person will die. But as time passes, does anything change on your side of the mirror? How could this timeless space grow old? No wrinkles ever appear here. And how could you, your true self, ever die? Death cannot travel with you all the way along the 1 meter path. Crossing the threshold between the world and the origin of the world, you leave death behind and step into immortality. What a joy to find at the heart of yourself this miracle of everlasting life. And yet, despite the promise of everlasting life, we may find ourselves reluctant to cross this magical threshold. Why do we resist our immortality? We are so used to seeing ourselves as others see us, that when suddenly we see our nothingness, it may confuse and frighten us. We may feel as though we've disappeared. What is the remedy for our fear? Be aware of it. See that it arises in the emptiness and then goes. And see that the fear of emptiness, the fear of a cold, dead, endless void, is fear of an idea. In reality, this emptiness isn't just empty, it's also full, and it's aware. Dying into the infinite void, you are born into infinite life. When I'm overlooking my true self, it's easy to become worried about every little detail there in the mirror. I'm identified with what I see there. But when I'm aware of my true self, the pressure is off. I'm not defined by the image there. I'm looking at it from a place that's free of it. As a result, I'm more able to accept my appearance just the way it is. When I'm truthful in this way, seeing not only what my appearance is, but also where it is, the mirror no longer feels like an enemy, it becomes a friend, reminding me that I'm not what I look like, that I'm boundless and free. Seeing you are at centre, free of your image, free of yourself, is beneficial not only when you're in front of a mirror, but in all situations. A friend plays viola in an orchestra. Imagining what she looked like, she used to feel self-conscious in front of audiences, and this affected her playing. She felt tense, under inspection, worried about her appearance and how she sounded. Now she sees she is not her image, she is capacity for the audience, and the experience is radically different. In the moment of seeing and listening, she's aware there's nothing and no one in the way of the music. It flows not from her imagined self at center, but from silence, from the image-free, tension-free source that is her true self. This is a far more enjoyable experience for her, and for the audience too. Our self-image, important as it is, can get in our way. See that your image is over there in the mirror, that you're free of it where you are, that others see you but you don't, and gradually, over time, discover how this frees you up. I find it frees me up. I love dancing. How wonderful it is to dance as this emptiness. I'm not imprisoned in my image. My movement flows from this boundless freedom where I am. Even when I feel self-conscious, I can still see that I'm not defined by that self-image. My self-image arises in this imageless reality that I am, that we all are. First of all, with eyes open, be aware that you're looking at things from your single eye. Things there, emptiness here. And yet, there's no boundary between things and the emptiness. Now close your eyes. What changes? Your view out has changed. You can no longer see your body or the world. Has your view in changed? Mine hasn't. I'm still empty. I'm now empty for a darkness filled with specks of light and after-images. I find no boundary to this darkness. It merges into and is surrounded by nothing at all. It's floating in the boundless emptiness of my true self. Be aware of any sounds you can hear, including my voice. Where are these sounds happening? I find them happening in silence. Are you distant from any of these sounds? How can you be distant if you're not a thing, if you're the silence in which these sounds are happening? Doesn't this silence merge with and become each and every sound? Listen to the sound of these wind chimes arising within the silence. Those sounds appeared, now they've disappeared. Sounds come and go. You cannot prevent any sound from fading away. But the silence of your true self never fades. It's always present. Be aware of your body sensations. On present evidence, how big are you? What shape are you? Are you inside these sensations, or are they inside you? I find my sensations are inside boundless emptiness. Attend to the sensation of your right foot. On present evidence, what shape and colour is it? Without relying on memory, does it have a shape or colour? How big is it? Now remember the image of your foot. Is the sensation inside that image? I find the sensation and the image are different things. At the same time, both the sensation and the image are in emptiness, in consciousness. Attend to your breathing. Where is that sensation happening? I feel the rhythm of my breath in unchanging emptiness. Be aware of all your body sensations. I find no boundary to mine. In every direction, sensations merge into boundless consciousness. Be aware of your thoughts. Where are they? Think of the name of a planet. Where does that thought appear? Does it happen inside your head or in your no-head, in the aware emptiness? Where do thoughts come from? Think of the name of a country. I find a thought popping up out of nowhere, then dissolving. This emptiness is the fertile no-mind from which mind comes and into which mind returns. How do you create thoughts and images? Imagine a yellow circle. How do you make that image appear? I've no idea how I do it. As if by magic it forms out of nowhere, then dissolves again. The effortless creativity and skill of your true self are astonishing. What about feelings? Think of a friend. Their face appears in the emptiness. Be aware of how you feel towards them. Where are your feelings? Are they inside anything? Don't feelings appear and disappear in the emptiness? What can you say for certain about yourself now? Can you be sure of your age, your name, your gender, your personality? I can't. How can I be certain my memory is reliable? How do I know I'm not dreaming all of this, only to wake up tomorrow something completely different? And yet there is one thing I can be totally sure about. It's the most essential, most basic thing about myself. It's not what I am, it's that I am. My own being, this pure consciousness in which everything is happening. This is self-evidently real. I cannot, of course, prove the reality of my true self to others. This awake emptiness is a hidden, private thing. But it's not hidden from oneself. Once you become aware of it, it's the most obvious thing in the world, and the most real. In a moment, I'm going to ask you to open your eyes. Notice what changes and what stays the same. Open your eyes. I find the colours and shapes of the room reappear in this emptiness. There's change there, but no change here. Here I remain empty, empty for whatever is now happening. With eyes open, continue being aware that all the sounds you hear are in your silence. All your body sensations are in this bodiless awareness. All your thoughts and feelings are in this no-mind. You are the unchanging capacity in which all these different things are happening. I'm now going to guide you through the spinning experiment. This is a vivid way of seeing that you're always still and at rest. It's the world that moves, not you. To do this experiment, you need to stand up. When you're standing, point at your no-face, just as you did in the pointing experiment. Slowly and carefully turn round on the spot. If you feel dizzy at any point, then of course stop. Take care of yourself. On present evidence, are you moving or is the world moving? I'll describe my experience. See if you find something similar. I see my pointing finger, and beyond my finger I see the room going past. But this side of my finger I see nothing moving at all. All the movement is there, none of it is here. I am still, and the world is moving. Are you the same? Do this for a few moments. Relax into the stillness where you are, the stillness at the heart of the turning world. Now slow down and stop. Stop the world. You can stop pointing at your no-face, your true self, whenever you like. I would now like you to start walking slowly. Notice that everything within your field of view, within your single eye, is moving, including your legs, if you look down. I find, however, that I'm not moving. Everything is moving through me. Obviously, someone else would see you walking round the room. From their point of view, the room's not moving, you are. But what is your experience? Slow down and stop, then sit down. You can see you're still whenever you want. Say you're walking down a corridor. Are you walking down the corridor from your point of view? I'm not. I'm still, and the walls of the corridor are moving. They're flowing into the stillness where I am. It's the same when you're on a train. If you're sitting in the train facing forwards, you're still and the scenery rushes into you, but you never get filled up. Facing the other way, everything rushes out of you, but you're never exhausted. You are the infinitely resourceful magic storehouse, from which everything comes and to which everything returns. Seeing you're still whilst the world moves is not just a fun thing to notice, it's also therapeutic. Years ago, a friend asked Douglas Harding why he didn't get tired, even though he travelled a lot. Douglas was in his 80s at the time. Douglas said it was because he didn't go anywhere. He remained still whilst the world moved through him. As infants and children, we didn't go anywhere either. Being still at centre, we loved spinning the world round and round, loved seeing it dance. But as we grew up, we fell under the hypnotic spell of society and came to believe what people told us, that we were moving whilst the world was still. We took all that restless movement in the world into ourselves. No wonder if now we feel tired and stressed. All that motion is now in us. What is the remedy for feeling so disturbed? Wake up from the trance. Stop lying to yourself. See where all that commotion really is and where it isn't. It's all there in the world. None of it is at your centre. You are viewing the eternal motion and stress in the world from the eternal stillness and peace of your true self. Seeing this benefits your health. Hold your hand out in front of you. Observe your hand there, given in the emptiness here. You are empty for your hand. Notice, for example, that the shape of your hand doesn't affect the shapelessness of your true self. Move your hand about. Its movement doesn't affect the stillness of your true self. Be aware of the sensation of your hand. You are capacity for that sensation. Wiggle your fingers. Notice that the changing sensations don't affect the absence of sensation where you are. Now make your hand into a fist and gently tense it. Be aware of the feeling of tightness, of mild stress there. Notice that the tightness and stress are there and not here. They don't affect your true self. Even whilst you're feeling stressed there, your true self remains stress-free. Relax your hand. Now be aware of the feeling of your whole body, given here in your bodiless awareness. Do those changing sensations affect your bodiless true self, or does it remain unaffected? Gently tense your whole body for a moment. Can you succeed in tensing your true self? I can't. I remain stress-free. Now relax your body. Place your right hand against something stable, a table perhaps, or the chair you're sitting on. Push gently so that you meet resistance there. Be aware of the feeling of resistance, the tension, the pressure. Nothing is moving. Now be aware that your capacity for that resistance. Tension there, no tension here. Being empty, you have nothing with which to resist the tension there. Your true self unconditionally accepts the tense situation. You are built open for whatever is happening, including tension. Stop pushing and relax. Notice that you are now capacity for the resolution of that tension. Gently press the nail of your thumb into a finger so that you experience slight discomfort. Being empty, are you not free of that pain, and at the same time filled with it? Now stop pressing your nail into your finger. When you next find yourself in a difficult situation, experiment. If you feel tense or resistant, observe these feelings from the tension-free, unresisting space where you are. Be aware you are not caught up in the situation. It's in you. You are not a victim of what is happening. You are its source. See if awareness of this total inner relaxation affects how you respond to the situation. Remain open to any inspiration and guidance that flow from the source. It may take time for the situation to resolve, and it may not work out in the way you hope or expect. But I believe that when you see you're empty for what's going on, and keep seeing you're empty for it, then the right way forward will present itself. Don't believe me, of course. Test this for yourself. Look at the face of the clock. Notice what time it is. If the clock has a second hand, notice it going round. If not, notice the minute hand slowly moving. Where there's change, there's time. The hands of the clock mark out the passage of time. Now notice you're looking at the face of the clock from your no face. You're looking at the hands moving round from this still awareness. Movement there, no movement here. Change there, no change here. Time there, no time here. You're looking into time from the timeless. On the one hand, you can distinguish between the changing world and your timeless emptiness. On the other hand, there's no boundary. Your timeless emptiness merges with and becomes the world of change, the world of time. For the rest of this experiment, you no longer need to look at the clock. Things take time. It takes time for you to hear the whole of this sentence, and even then there may be something else added on. But does it take time to hear the silence in which these words are appearing? Don't you hear the silence immediately you listen for it? And you hear all of it, none of it's hidden, waiting to be revealed later. It takes time to do anything. Look at your hand. Open and close it several times. It takes a few seconds to do that. But it takes no time at all to see the space in which that activity is happening. It takes time to understand things. There's always more to know. If you studied your hand for months, there would still be things about it you didn't understand. But in this moment, you understand all you can ever understand about your true self, which is nothing at all. Your true self is incomprehensible. It's as empty of meaning as it is empty of sound or form. And yet, from this profound mystery that no one can describe or understand, come insight and understanding. From the timeless no mind comes, in time, all the things we need to know. Look at your body. Day by day it grows older, second by second. Are you growing older? Your body was born. One day it will die. But were you born? Will you die? How could this timeless emptiness that you are begin or end? Be aware of where you live, your physical home. Even if you have lived there for years, it's a temporary home. One day, either because you move or because you die, you won't live there. But the place you're looking out of is different. You can never be evicted from here. This is your eternal home. Does awareness of your true self help you cope better with change and with the prospect of death? A friend of mine is old and not very well, but he says that being aware of his true self makes all the difference to his feelings about old age and death. He's enjoying being immortal. For myself, as I grow older, I become more keenly aware that life doesn't last forever. I've seen loved ones pass away. Though I don't know when my death will come, I know it will come. I don't consider it morbid to think about this. I think I'm being healthily realistic. At the same time, I see that on my shoulders I don't carry a mortal human head, but an immortal, divine no-head. It's like discovering the fountain of everlasting youth and drinking from its refreshing waters. Douglas Harding spoke about a joy that has no shadow. Every joy caused by things has a shadow, because every joyful thing eventually comes to an end. But the joy that springs from being who you really are has no shadow, because your true self never ends. When you see who you really are, you discover the most wonderful thing about yourself. What better news could there be than the news that time doesn't touch you, that death has no power over you.